Hi, in this video we're going to talk about how to factor a quadratic polynomial. So the way to explain this is through an example. So let's talk about it. So what we want to do is factor. So let's give an example. What I want to do is factor x squared minus 10x plus 24. Okay. So this is an example. X squared minus 10x plus 24 is an example of a quadratic polynomial because the highest exponent that you see here is 2. Now, what do you mean by factor this quantity? What does that mean? And what does that mean? All it's saying is what it's saying is we want to express x squared minus 10x plus 24 as x minus some number, let's call it a, times x minus b minus some other number, call it b. So what we want to do, what factor x squared minus 10x plus 24 means, express x squared minus 10x plus 24 as x minus some number times x minus some other number. Now these numbers, how do you find, so the question is, how do you find these numbers a and b? And that's what we're going to discuss. So how do you find that? That's those numbers. That's what you want to ask yourself. How do you find those two numbers? And to be a little precise, these numbers are actually integers. So what we want to do is find two integers for which we can express x squared minus 10x plus 24 as x minus a times x minus b. So how do you find those two integers? And that's what we're going to discuss here. So what we're going to do, and so how do you do that? Well, what we want to do is we want to find two integers for which if you add them up gives you minus 10, and if you multiply them together gives you positive 24. So that's what I'm going to do, and that's what we're going to find out, those two numbers. So let me write that what we're going to do. So let's erase this because this is not this is just let's erase this. And let me write what we're going to do. What we're going to do is find two integers. So let me erase this. Two integers for which you add, let me just fix this, for which you add them for which you add them together gives you negative 10, and if you multiply them together, multiply together gives you 24. So what we want to, again, so let me summarize what I mean. We want to find two integers for which if you add them together gives you negative 10, and if you multiply them together gives you 24. So what we want to do is find two integers for which if you add them up gives you minus 10, and if you multiply them together gives you 24. I hope this clarifies what I mean. So now let's look at those pairs. Let's find those pairs of integers, right? So let's look at all the pairs of integers for which if you multiply them together gives you 24. What are those numbers? Well, they can be 6 and 4, minus 6 and minus 4, right? Sorry, so 6 times 4 gives you 24, so that's a possible pair. Minus 6 and minus 4 is another possible pair because minus 6 times minus 4 gives you 24. Another option is 12 and 2, right? 12 times 2, if you multiply them together, it gives you 24. Minus negative 12, negative 2. If you multiply them together, it gives you 24, right? So maybe how about 24 and 1? Yeah, if you multiply them together, it gives you 24. Or minus 24 and minus 1. So now these are all the pairs for which if you multiply them together it gives you 24. But out of those 6 pairs, which pair is for which if you add them up gives you negative 10? So let's look at it. What 6 and 4? Well, 6 plus 4 gives you 10, but that's not negative 10. So this doesn't work. This is not the pair we're interested in. What about minus 6 and minus 4? Well, minus 6 plus minus 4 is negative 10. So this pair works. So this is the pair. This is our A and our B that we talked before. So minus 6 and minus 4 are our A and B. Does that make sense? So you see the technique? So what you do is find all the integers, find all the pairs of integers for which you multiply them together, it gives you 24. And then out of those pairs, find that pair. Out of those pairs, find the pair for which if you add them up gives you minus 10. And that's how you're able to find A and B that I discussed before. So now we found our A and B. That's minus 6 and minus 4. So these are our pair of integers. So now let me write it in another piece of paper. So now we found our A and B. So what will it be? So you can write x squared minus 10x plus 24 as x minus 4 times x minus 6. So we expressed what we did is expressed x squared minus 10x plus 24 as x minus 4 times x minus 6. That's what it means by factor x squared minus 10x plus 24. So that's what we did. So I hope you liked this video, and I hope you learned from it. And stay tuned for more of my for more. So bye.